Okay, this lesson is about reflexive verbs, so let's go right to it. Okay, it's just a different kind of verb than what you've seen before. Okay, and they're actually really easy to spot, so don't overthink these. They are verbs that basically they tell us that the person is doing the action, but is also receiving the action. So for example, if I'm brushing my hair, I'm the person who's doing the brushing, but since the hair is on my head, I'm also the one that's receiving the action. So just remember that. Reflexives, the person does the action and they also receive it. Okay, so it's kind of a mirrored thing. Now, how do you know if it's a reflexive verb? Very easy. You're always going to see that they end in an SE. So it's going to be the regular infinitive, but at the end of the infinitive, you're always going to see that SE. Okay, so if you look at your 4B vocab, these are the reflexive verbs that you have in there. Levantarse, bañarse, okay? And all that SE is there. It's just to let you know that it's a reflexive, okay? So you could basically, when it comes time to conjugate it, you would ignore that SE and you just conjugate the verb as you normally do. It's just that reflexives are going to need one additional step, which I will show you in a second, okay? All of these verbs are regular, except for the two that I have signaled out right here. This one is a stem changer and ponerse is a go verb. And I will tell you in a different video how to conjugate those. Okay? All right, so let's look at this. Now, the other thing you need to know about reflexive verbs is that not every verb in a language can be reflexive. So for example, lavar is to wash. So I can wash the dishes, I can wash the car, I can wash my dog. That's not an action that I'm receiving. I'm just the one doing it. Okay? But if I put lavarse and I add that se, then that se, what it means is the word oneself. Because now I'm washing myself, you're washing yourself, we're washing ourselves, and so forth. Okay? So a reflexive, remember again, is a verb that you do the action, but you also receive it. A regular verb is just going to be an action that you do. You're not receiving it though. Okay? Now, some verbs will never be able to be reflexive. For example, cantar, to sing. You don't sing yourself. That's not something that you receive. It's just something that you do. Okay? So, let's talk about that extra step of the reflexive. Now, you know that we have lots of different pronouns in Spanish, but the good news is that they're usually all the same in first and second person, because I know you've seen me and te before. Same thing with nos and os. Okay, so the only place that it's different from ones that you've previously learned is in the third person singular and plural. Okay, so here's the deal, and I'm going to turn the paper over so you can see this. This is how, if it focuses, this is how we conjugate a regular verb, to wash. Like if I was going to wash the dishes. Lavo, lavas, lava, lavamos, lavais, lavan. Now, if it's a reflexive verb, if it ends in that SE, and we add that oneself component, you still are going to conjugate it like you always did, but let me divide that up. You have to add the reflexive pronoun. The reflexive pronoun is the equivalent of oneself. Okay? So there's nothing for you to do with that SE. That SE is just there to let you know that you're going to need that reflexive pronoun in front of the verb. Okay? It's going to be two separate words, not one word. So it's going to be me lavo, te lavas, se lava, nos lavamos, os laváis, and se lavan. Yep, the third person singular and the plural are the same. Okay, so remember, if you want to say that you do something and you receive the action, any of those verbs in the chapter, if it ends in SE, you must put one of these reflexive pronouns. If not, the verb would not make sense.